Maxim Sytch is a professor of management and organizations at the University of Michigan. He joins me now live from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Professor, a lot of your research focuses on leaders and leadership. What's your assessment of the Ukrainian president, who before winning the presidency was a comedian with no political experience? And I know expectations, at least in the international community, were pretty low, but he has stepped up to be what appears to be a strong leader during this crisis.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We often hear that great leaders rise to the occasion, and President Zelensky has certainly done so, in spite of not having any meaningful administrative experience, as you said, prior to becoming the president. He has become such a force for the Ukrainian nation in this war. He is present, he is direct, he's honest, he's addressing the Ukrainian nation daily. He refused to leave the capital city of Kiev when the United States and allies offered such an opportunity, famously quipping that he needed ammunition, not a ride. And, Zelensky actively uses multiple channels of communication, including social media. He often speaks directly to the Russian people in Russian with a direct plea to stop the senseless war. He tirelessly works the phone, speaking to allies, trying to ramp up economic and political pressure on Putin and secure additional economic and military aid to Ukraine. I don't even know if he sleeps these days. By his own admission, he had not seen his family for days. And what's also important is that he empowers his leadership team to speak to the Ukrainian people and to the world about what's happening in Ukraine, using, again, various forums, from the United Nations to social media. He inspires thousands of Ukrainians to stand up to the aggressor and to protect their land, while continuously seeking a diplomatic solution to the war. In this war, Ukraine is as united as it's ever been. And it came as the biggest surprise to Putin, I believe. And President Zelensky is an extremely powerful force behind that unity. He has become a visible leader and a powerful symbol of the Ukrainian resistance.
What about the Russian President Vladimir Putin? Because a lot of analysts have been trying to get inside his head, and honestly, it doesn't really seem like very many people know what his thought process is. What can you tell us about him? What is his leadership style like, and how is he different?
Honestly, I would not even use the words Putin and leadership in the same sentence right now. Just think about this. Whom does the world want to follow, support, unite behind? It is certainly not Putin. In fact, Putin has generated a wave of resistance to his actions across the world that we have not seen probably since the Second World War. I'm convinced that Putin will go into history books as one of the biggest failures of leadership. Now, take a look at his actions. As the world now knows, there was no justification for Putin's war against Ukraine. None whatsoever. Right? No one threatened Russia, no one attacked Russia. It is just a horrific act of unprovoked aggression. It was purely the result of Putin's grand imperial ambitions and fear for his own power. And he has blood on his hands now, blood of thousands of Ukrainian and Russian soldiers and hundreds of civilians. 16 Ukrainian children have been killed in the first 6 days of the war. Think about this. Putin has unilaterally dragged Russia into the war. He crumbled the Russian economy in a matter of days. He isolated the country from the rest of the world. He stigmatized the nation, most likely for decades. And he's creating a dismal future for the country. In my view, he effectively abdicated from the responsibility to lead the country. And importantly, you're asking me to look inside his head. It's really difficult to do. But what I can tell you is that if you look at Putin's leadership team, he created an echo chamber around himself. In social science, we describe it as low psychological safety. People are so concerned about reprisal that they do not surface contrasting views. His cabinet members are terrified of him. Just watch his latest Security Council meeting, where he humiliated his head of foreign intelligence service in public and made him change his opinion on the sovereignty of these two separatist Ukrainian states in a matter of seconds. And having that echo chamber around you makes you a terrible leader. As we could see with Trump in the US, if you say the most blatant, outrageous lies 100 times, and your advisors repeat those lies back to you, that becomes your reality. And so it is conceivable that Putin lived in this alternative reality in which he believed that many Ukrainians would, if not cover Russian tanks with flowers, at least lay down their arms and welcome his leadership. And the fact that it did not happen, the fact that he made such a gross miscalculation,
all right, Professor,
endangering the future of Russia.
I hate to interrupt you because we're hearing some good information out of you, but we are completely out of time. So I want to thank you, Maxim Sytch, joining us from Ann Arbor, Michigan.